There isn't usually the case of fourth time's the charm, but with the Z Fold 4 this time around, I think that might just be the exception to the rule, with even the still relatively high entry price for everyone that was considering a fold device since the first generation back in 2019 and has held off for obvious reasons. This might just be the time for you. Hi, Ben from SamMobile. If you enjoy new and exclusive videos like this, then be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos on YouTube with SamMobile TV. Here's my full experience review of the Z Fold 4. For reference, our review unit of the Fold 4 is in the grey-green color. The design and build quality of the Fold 4 is a great exercise and example of excellent packaging and refinement. If we do compare it to the Fold 3, the slightly more compact footprint and the slight weight reduction is welcome considering the two-in-one nature of the device. Is the weight reduction entirely noticeable in isolation or even when comparing it alongside the Fold 3? I would actually say no, but that still doesn't take away from the effort Samsung have put into making the Fold 4 more usable day to day, especially considering the size of the device and how it can transform into a tablet. We will go deeper later on in the review, but the most important and arguably the most noticeable design change is not just the flatter edges with the glossy finish, but the wider and slimmer bezels of the outer cover display. Now the trimmings to the outer cover display is enough to visually notice, but also finally makes it more functional. If we come back to the fit and finish, although having a glossy finish to the metal frame and making the frame more flatter adds a nice visual contrast to the beautiful matte finish of the back glass panel, I much prefer the matte finish to the frame and also the more rounded tapered look for a better grip and less slip in the hand. Consider the fact that we still have an IPX8 water resistance rating, which still makes the Fold 4 one of only few folding devices to have protection against the elements, which is still no small feat. The power button that doubles as a fast hardware fingerprint sensor, and also having proper dual speakers for excellent loudspeaker audio experience. I still can't help but be impressed with what Samsung have done with the Fold 4, especially when it comes to the design and build quality. You could argue and say that the display experience on the Fold 4 is one area that has seen a major improvement. Let's start with the obvious first. The outer cover display. Is it now more usable and pretty much as usable as a smartphone display? Almost. I still think when typing day to day on it, you do need something like autocorrect on to help, and of course things like the size of your fingers and the typing speed make a difference to the outer cover display feeling more usable. But I would say that after a solid 2 weeks with it now, that I'm noticing the difference with it being wider at the 23.1:9 aspect ratio. Ideally, I still want a 22:9 aspect ratio with a display size of 6.3 inches, but for now, I'll take this improvement, which definitely after a few weeks does make a difference in feeling a lot more usable, close to what a normal phone would feel before you actually open up and transform it to use the inner display. That inner display is still 7.6 inches and now benefits from being wider. But the biggest improvement for me here is the under display camera for the selfie. Yes, if you do intentionally look for it, especially on camera now for this review, you can still see the outline and pixelation. But in all honesty, it feels so invisible to me in the time I've used it, which still makes me agree with Samsung going this direction with using a UDC camera for the inner display. What is still obviously visible is the inner crease. I've said it previously that the saving grace of the crease on a fold device instead of a flip is that you have way less physical interaction with it, if at all in most cases, which indeed makes it easier to deal with on a day-to-day basis. It still would have been nice to see a visual improvement here nonetheless, but hopefully in the future. On a technical level, the inner display is using a newer, more brighter and efficient LTPO panel, which can refresh between 1 to 120 Hz, while the outer display is now adaptive between 48 and 120 Hz. Overall feeling of the haptic feedback does feel slightly better improved compared to before, but it might even out to be still the same. We didn't see this time improvements to the S Pen implementation. That's not to say it's still not impressive, as you still do need an S Pen Fold edition to still use it, and the S Pen is not supported on the outer cover display. And also, this is something that, considering Samsung has said that the UTG glass is 45% stronger overall, it's not really something that we saw that you can use a normal S Pen. And one last thing to hear, unlike the S22 Ultra, there is no dedicated place for the S Pen in the body, as you still do need a dedicated case for it. Regardless, the overall improvements to the displays are still welcomed. A quick word from our channel affiliate partner NordVPN. As our preferred VPN of choice, NordVPN gives you a secure connection while keeping a fast speed and also access to content in different regions on popular services like Netflix. Use our unique link for your NordVPN plan and our coupon code SamMobile, backed with a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. It's definitely true to say that now the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 is at the forefront of powering the Fold 4. Samsung are proud to state that this is their most powerful mobile device for 2022 and brings with it a level of performance and especially efficiency that is a difference maker for Samsung. Although I'm not much of a mobile gamer myself, you are not going to struggle with playing even the most high-end popular games here, as you will have access to all the best settings and frame rates thanks to the powerful Adreno GPU. I've got the base model here with 12GB of RAM and 256GB of internal storage, and the thing that really surprised me the most is just how responsive the overall UI navigation felt day to day, even till now. For the buyers usually dealt with the Exynos hand when it comes to Samsung flagships, you are in for a treat when it comes to how good the performance and efficiency is on the Z Fold 4. I think we can all agree that the camera on the Fold has been one of the main reasons why most people, especially on the high end, have held back from using a Fold series device. And in a lot of ways, that is rightfully so. It's less about the experience because we still have the same unique and awesome capturing experience that you can only find on a folding screen device, thanks to the hands-free experience that the Flex mode brings, using the cover display as a viewfinder so you can actually use the rear cameras for your selfies and also for when you're framing someone for a shot, and also the large viewfinder that in the display offers alongside the ability to instantly see your pictures and videos after capturing them. This is still all here with now nearly the same great camera hardware as we have from the S22 Plus, with the 50MP main sensor and the updated 3x 10MP optical zoom. Backed with the power of the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1's ISP, the results from the Fold 4 camera from the photos and video are excellent, and in my opinion, finally make it worth considering. Now, I previously said the Fold 4 is near enough the same cameras as what found in the S22 Plus, and the reason for this statement is because there are a few things to consider. Yes, we still have a 12MP ultra wide, but it lacks the ability at this time to record in 4K 60 frames a second, which is something you can do on the S22. And although not usually recommended, the ultra wide lens in low light, the performance from the Fold 4 is less. Another pet peeve is the position of the selfie button on the cover display camera UI. Samsung needs to give us the option to place it in a different position for easier activation and also give us the ability to enable it from the inner display. I know, considering the price of the Fold 4, that we still wanted the hardware of the Fold to be based around the S Series Ultra, but for now, the improvement here, especially in the real world, is a big difference maker, and I'm so glad to be back on a Fold series device in which I can use my main camera as my selfie with excellent edge detection, background blur, and improved stabilization. We did a deep dive video covering all that is new with One UI 4.1.1 with Android 12L running on the Fold 4 compared to the previous Fold 3, One UI 4.1. So we highly recommend you check that out for all the details. Now, to summarize in this review, the addition of the taskbar is the biggest change here, which allows for a desktop-like dock experience with your recent apps and quicker access to the most used apps. You can even directly drag and drop the app straight into split view mode for up to 3 apps that support it, and then go as far as saving it as an app pair directly into the taskbar. I do wish you had a bit more control of the apps that appeared on the taskbar, but overall the experience here is nice, especially when you can switch between apps quickly and launch straight into multitasking. Also, elements of One UI 5 Beta 1 are also here with advanced features and labs giving you the option to swipe up to split screen and pop-up view. If you've used the Fold device before, then you indeed will feel right at home, and if not, then be ready for the most fun and productive experience on Android so far. If you had any concern that the Fold 4 is still using the same 4400 mAh battery size, then I will say that now it's no concern. A larger battery size would have been nice, no doubt, especially getting close to the magic 5000 mAh battery size. But collectively, the improvements to the display and especially the efficiency of the 8 Plus Gen 1 sees the Fold 4 bring some of the best battery life experience on any Samsung device I've used so far, even ahead of my Exynos 2200 powered S22 Ultra. I wouldn't class screen on time as the be all and say all of battery endurance measurement, as I am averaging 6 to 7 hours on my day-to-day usage on just using mobile data with no Wi-Fi, the performance profile on standard, and auto brightness on with 120 Hz. It's more the total usage including screen off, as certain apps do not account for screen on. The standby time is excellent, and on my most intense day of using the camera for 2+ hours, after an end-to-end 12-hour day, the Fold 4 still had a good amount of battery left. I'm so glad to say that for a lot of people using the Fold 4 this time around, you do not have to worry about the battery. As high-end purchases go for a mobile device, the Fold series is still up there thanks to the innovation of the folding screen and the flex hinge experience. But that being said, if you're ready to jump on a Fold series device, even from first generation or second generation Fold, then for sure with the improvements at hand, the Fold 4 is a worthy contender. What are your thoughts on the Z Fold 4? Let us know in the comment section below. For the latest news in the world of Samsung Daily, be sure to visit us at SamMobile.com. And for the latest videos on YouTube with SamMobile TV, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, and we will see you next time.